Hey guys, today we'll be taking a look at whether the iPhone 11 is worth it or not. Now, if you're a fan of Upfront conclusions, I'm gonna give it straight to you. The iPhone 11 is an amazing phone, if you're looking for an iPhone. But the reality is, there are way cheaper alternatives out there. So if that's what you're here for, then drop this video a like and go do something more meaningful with your time. But in the meantime, if you want to look into the details of whether the iPhone 11 is truly worth it or not, then stick around. So to answer the question of whether the iPhone 11 is worth it, or anything for that matter, we have to ask ourselves several questions. The first one being whether buying this makes us happier. And with the iPhone 11, the answer is that it does not, no. And this applies to basically any tech product, because with new tech purchases, we tend to get overexcited about them. Say you got the newest iPhone, and when you first unbox it, you're like, damn, I got the newest iPhone. But then after a week of using it, you're back to using how you normally use your phone, like watching YouTube, Instagram, or doing whatever you used to do in a phone to waste your time. And when rumors about the next iPhone start popping up, you'll probably be thinking, I wonder what the iPhone 12 looks like. With that said, buying an iPhone 11 will probably make us happy in the short term, but definitely not in the long term. So let's move on to the next one. So there are two factors that come into play when we decide whether something makes us happy or not. And the first one is whether buying that something solves an existing problem. Say your current phone is very slow. So slow to the point that when you carry out basic tasks like browsing the web, using YouTube, using the camera, if doing those tasks literally pains you every time, then this is probably an indication that you should upgrade your phone. You should upgrade to the iPhone 11. For example, I recently bought the Samsung Galaxy S10, and the reason I did that was my current iPhone 7 Plus is a 32 gigs model, which means I need a lot more storage than that to store all the footage I'm shooting outside when I'm vlogging outside. So in this case, it makes sense for me to upgrade to buy a new phone or a new camera. And of course, there will be people asking me the question, and who have already asked me the question, Michael, why did you buy a new phone instead of new camera? Well, my answer to that is that will be a topic where I'll talk about in another video. But for now, all I want to say is if buying the iPhone 11 helps you solve a problem that seriously affects you, for example, if it affects your workflow, or say you can't communicate with anybody because you just dropped your phone on the ground and it completely shattered, then it makes sense for you to buy the iPhone 11. With the iPhone 11, there really isn't any life-changing feature. You could argue that the iPhone 11 has introduced the wide-angle camera lens, which previous iPhones didn't have. And now you can shoot videos and photos from a wider angle. But honestly, unless you're in a very small area, like a small room like this, then you won't really make use of the wide camera lens, because you can simply step back from the thing you want to take a photo of or shoot a video of, and you'll capture the whole scene, right? So to sum it up, the iPhone 11 really doesn't have any life-changing feature, and you'll probably as happy as you already are even if you get the new iPhone 11. The next thing we want to think about is whether there are cheaper or even better alternatives out there. And in 2020, right now, the Xiaomi Poco X2 is one of the best, if not the best, budget phone. Its most impressive feature is without doubt its 120Hz refresh rate display. That's a feature that even the iPhone 11 Pro cannot boast, let alone the iPhone 11. And say you don't like phones made by Chinese brands, then there's the OnePlus 8 series, the OnePlus 8 and the OnePlus 8 Pro. And of course, there's Samsung. Samsung makes a lot of flagship phones, which is the Samsung Galaxy S20 right now, and of course there's last year's phone, which is the phone one of the phones I own right now, which is the Samsung Galaxy S10. And many of these phones are better than the iPhone 11 in many ways. But of course, the one thing that makes Apple users come back for more Apple products is the Apple ecosystem. This is basically the concept that the more Apple products you own, the better your experience with all of these products are because of just how well they link with one another. And eventually, you'll find yourself getting so accustomed to, getting so comfortable with this system that you can't leave, you can't not use Apple products, and you'll basically stick with the brand forever, which is of course what Apple wants. But this is not a must. Getting in the Apple ecosystem is definitely not a must, because right now there are plenty of services that help link your tech products together, your phone, your tablet, your computer, and one of the most popular services are without doubt Google's. Google apps like Google Photos, Google Drive, and other apps like Send Anywhere. These apps rivals Apple's AirDrop, iCloud Photos, iCloud Drive, and in many ways, the non-Apple version of these apps are much better. They're much more generous. For example, Google Photos offer unlimited storage of like lower quality photos, and also Google Drive offers you 15 gigs of storage instead of the 5 gigs of storage you get on iCloud. And really, these services do the exact same thing as what the Apple ecosystem does, which is to link your tech products, your devices together. You might have to spend a few more seconds, for example, when you transfer a photo from your Mac to your Android device, you might have to go through the process of uploading your photo to Google Photos, then going onto your Android device and then downloading that photo or video from Google Photos. But with iPhones and Mac, of course, you can simply use AirDrop. But at the end of the day, you can still do the exact same thing at the cost of a bit more time with the non-Apple side of things. So when you take this into account, the iPhone 11 really isn't a must-buy because hardware-wise, there are plenty better alternatives. And when you talk about cloud-based services or services that help link your devices together, Google and other companies offer a wide range of apps that help you do exactly the same thing as what the Apple ecosystem does. Finally, I'd like to talk a bit about the iPhone 11 Pro. Now, this is a phone that when you consider whether buying it is worth it or not, you basically have to think about all the points I mentioned above, but then magnify all of them, all of the arguments I've made, by 2 or 3 times, because the iPhone 11 Pro is basically the iPhone 11 with 2 or 3 extra features at the cost of a huge price difference. For the 2,600 Hong Kong dollars price difference between the iPhone 11 and the Pro version, and the even larger 3,500 difference between the 11 and the 11 Pro Max, you simply get the telephoto lens and the OLED display. So when you think about whether you'll be going for the iPhone 11 or the 11 Pro or Pro Max, you'll have to think about whether those 2 extra features, the better display and the extra camera lens, is worth it to you or not. Do you really use those features a lot? For example, there really isn't a huge difference between an LED and an OLED display. Like the iPhone 11 and the 11 Pro and Pro Max's display is really not that different unless you put them side to side. If you were to buy any one of them, you'll not like be complaining, oh my god, this screen is just bad, because it's not. All of the screens of these 3 phones are great, but then you'll have to think about, like on a daily basis, whether you actually care about having a better display, because the price difference is not small. The other thing is whether you actually use the extra telephoto lens on the iPhone 11 Pro, because in my opinion, there are plenty more use cases for the ultra wide lens on both the iPhone 11 and the 11 Pro than the telephoto lens on only the Pro versions of the iPhone 11. For example, I myself own the iPhone 7 Plus, which is the first iPhone, the first phone probably to have a telephoto lens, to have 2 lenses on a smartphone. And although I've often used the quick option, the 2x zoom feature on this phone. Even if I don't have a telephoto lens on my phone, I could just use the optical zoom every other smartphone has, and I'll basically still get a zoomed in version of the photo or video I'm trying to shoot. It's basically a myth that shooting photos and videos with the telephoto lens on your iPhone while you're zoomed in will give you better picture quality. Because actually, the telephoto camera is worse than the main camera on iPhones. And so with its like the AI, if it detects that if the telephoto lens will give you a worse picture than the main camera, it will actually revert. It will stick to using the main camera even if you press the 2x zoom button on your iPhone. So you're basically taking a picture with and shooting videos with your main camera, with the main lenses, instead of the telephoto lens. So basically, people actually very rarely use their telephoto lens, and they themselves don't even know it. But there's a different argument for the ultra-wide lens, and that's because when you're too close to the subject you want to take a video, you want to take a picture or shoot a video of, instead of moving back because you don't have enough space to do that, you can use the ultra-wide lens, and then you will capture the entire version of the subject you'll be wanting to take a picture or shoot a video of. So really, the only reason you'll be going for the iPhone 11 Pro or Pro Max over the cheaper iPhone 11 would be that you want to flex to other people. You want to signify to other people that, hey, I've got the latest iPhone, I've got the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and other people will know, oh, that guy is rich or something because he's got the latest iPhone and he's cool, and that dude's only got an iPhone 11, so he must be not cool. And that's basically why you'll get the iPhone 11 Pro over the iPhone 11. But if you carefully think about it, really the iPhone 11 is definitely the better buy. But of course, if your economic status, your financial status allows you to buy the iPhone 11 Pro and you really want to go for that, then go ahead. So that was my review of the iPhone 11, and to answer the question of whether it's worth it or not, in my opinion, I think probably not, because there are just too many cheaper and better alternatives out there. And the only reason I would buy this phone though is if my current iPhone breaks down, and because I want to stick with the Apple ecosystem, I would continue to use an iPhone as my main device. And if this one breaks down, unfortunately, which I hope it doesn't, I would consider buying an iPhone 11, which I think it has the features and the specs I need, and it'll probably be the next iPhone I'll buy if my current one breaks down. But I'll hopefully be continue to use it for the next 5 or 6 years. And yeah, big shout out to my cousin Vito-chan, who generously lent me his iPhone 11 for me to shoot this tech review. And he's a YouTuber himself, although he doesn't shoot any more YouTube videos. He was actually one of the people who inspired me to start filming YouTube videos, because he started filming YouTube videos like when he was like a few years back, when he was still a sub 10-year-old kid. And if a sub 10-year-old kid can do it, why can't a bloody nearly 20-year-old guy do it? So yeah, he was one of the people who inspired me to start this YouTube channel. And this is actually my first tech review, and because I hope to be some sort of tech tuber. So hopefully you liked this video, and until my next video, I'll see you guys later.